Guidance 101. I'm being guided this month to actually not do the weekly readings, but this reading is going to be sort of an overall July sort of themes reading. And when I was going through the decks, there was only 3 cards that wanted to go. 3 cards came out of the first deck that I used, and they said stop with that. When you see these 3 cards, you'll see why. Now that all of the July readings have been done for each of the signs, I could feel some themes going on. So what seems to be happening overall across the planet for everyone is an increase in frequency on the planet. The ascension has kind of feels like it's hit another level. And when that happens, deeper things can be sort of accessed, or they just deeper wounds that go further back, wounds that are deep can come up. So it's as if the higher the ascension goes, the deeper we can go for healing. So the very first card that wants to go is from Mama Gaia, saying to stay grounded. And given that this is the first card, the message for this is, yes, some of you are going to be really feeling a lot of ascension, which is sort of the lifting. It's a higher frequency, higher vibration, and it sort of has this sort of lifting feel to it. And so Mother Earth is saying, stay grounded. Stay grounded. So spend some time outside. Flower essences were coming up in the readings. Crystals, anything that's sort of the earth. Walking barefoot in the park, going for a walk, swimming in a lake, anything that has to do with nature, or if you have other ways that you have found to help you get grounded. So anytime you start to feel, maybe lightheaded, some of the symptoms may show up for you. Ascension symptoms, sort of lightheaded, a bit nauseous, kind of wobbly, you might be suddenly losing your balance, those sorts of things, those sorts of symptoms can happen for some of you. And so stay grounded, that's going to be important this month. The second card that came up has to do with, and they're sort of sequential, it was just amazing how this is how they came out. This is how they jumped out. The second card sort of addresses as the ascension, is happening, you might be having experiences, stay grounded. The next card is about forgiveness. So the Miriam is talking about sacred vision. Choose to forgive in order to heal. So they're tapping into the deeper wounds that are going to, or that may for some of you show up to be healed. It may show up in dreams. It may show up in situations with relationships that you might be in. It might show up with money sorts of challenges. Anything that will tap a deep hidden wound, they will now be coming up. So the Miriam is here to say, choose to forgive. So forgiveness is big. See the light in all. Remember that love has no boundaries. Love is just unlimited. And you are a loving being with unlimited access to love and seeing love in every situation, including where forgiveness is called for. They're also wanting to talk about forgiveness of the other, as in if wounds that are coming up where you feel like you have been wronged in some way. Someone wasn't very nice to you, abusive, things like that. Or someone did you wrong. Maybe someone stole something from you, or just was abusive in some way, emotional, physical, mental. If those are coming up, forgiveness. So forgiveness of the other, but it's also about, there are 2 of them, right? So it's as if it's forgiveness of the other, and it's also about forgiveness of self. both of these are very challenging to do. So some of you may want to just go, okay, I see it, I hear you, okay, yeah, I've heard that. But they're really asking you to really, really forgiveness, understanding that until you do, there's either blame for the other or blame for self. Blaming the other, if we just start with that, blaming the other because they've done you wrong, and feeling that sort of anger, blame, negativity, frustration, righteousness in a sort of negative energy kind of way, all of these are very low frequency. So when you are holding those emotions for another, even if they did do you wrong, but that situation has passed, if you're still holding blame, anger, frustration, then you are the one holding that frequency. So forgiveness is about letting go of these lower frequencies that are not serving you. That person or people that may have hurt you sometime in the past, that situation is over. They have gone on with their lives. They may not even be aware that they've hurt you. Maybe they hurt you and they don't care. It's inconsequential to how you are feeling, and the feelings giving you a frequency that's low, and it's bringing down the frequency of love, which is way up here. So you really want to try to forgive the other person. It is actually it's a self-loving act to forgive another. It's not to say that what they did was okay. It is purely to say, I forgive them because I am not going to hold this low frequency about this situation any longer. It's about letting it go. And sometimes it can be as simple as making that decision to let it go, and other times it might take a little bit of really sort of surrendering to Spirit, asking Spirit to please take this. I don't want to hold this anymore. And Spirit will do that for you. If you simply ask, they'll do that for you. They'll take it. And then get curious about how that feels in your body, because when those low frequencies release, it feels so good. It's just so freeing for you. Okay? The other one is about forgiving self. And I hear some of you going, well, I didn't do anything. I was the one that was wronged. Yeah. But in every situation there are two people. And by the law of attraction, and Melchizedek has come up so many times in June and July, Melchizedek saying, it takes two. For every situation, it takes two. We live in a magnetic universe. So there was, even if you're not aware of it, and oftentimes you're not aware of it if you're the sort of target or the victim of some kind of wrongdoing, but there is something in your frequency that attracted that. Just is. Maybe you were treated that way when you were a child, and so you developed some beliefs around this is how people, treat me, and then your frequency carries that, so people continue to do that. It's subconscious. And so in terms of forgiving yourself, it could be as simple as just, okay, my childhood wasn't so great, so I probably developed some beliefs around that as a child, through a child's eyes, that no longer serve me, no longer apply, right? You're not in childhood anymore. You're not 5 or 6 or 7 anymore. So you were probably very smart. Whatever beliefs you came up with in the situation you were in, if you really look at that, it probably was a very sort of intelligent belief based on what you could possibly know at that age and what you were seeing and experiencing. You may have, you know, decided like, okay, wow, in this world, you know, men aren't nice, or friendships hurt, or something like that, that would have been appropriate at that age and probably very smart. But now it doesn't apply. So the forgiveness of self is about, it's about saying, okay, little one, you know, I can see how you would come up with that, but you know what? And it was smart, but it doesn't really apply anymore. So we can let that go. That's what forgiveness looks like of self. It's basically saying, I am not going to carry that belief anymore that was created sort of appropriately at that time. I just don't need it anymore. And it's just having an awareness of that, bringing that subconscious to the conscious level and saying, okay, I forgive myself for coming up with that belief. It made sense at the time, but it doesn't make sense anymore. So I'm going to let that go. Letting go is big. Forgiveness and letting go, and then letting go of it. You just let it go. And if it's really hard, you know, ask Spirit to help you with that. So some of you will hopefully resonate with this and go, oh yeah, that I remember that. That makes sense. Okay, I can forgive myself for that. And others of you, it may be a little bit more challenging. So ask Spirit to help you. They will. They will help you. Okay, and then the third card that came is almost lines up with that feeling of letting go. Like once you forgive and let love fill that space that was hurting, right? That little one that was hurting and carrying this belief that, you know, doesn't fit anymore. Once you let that go, it's like there's a space there and love just comes flooding in to fill that space. The universe loves that, just fills that space. And the third card you got is from Lord Shiva, talking about transcendence. Transcending this. Transcending with forgiveness. Rise up. Honor your inner force. Steps are being given, and dance with the universe. This also showed up in many horoscopes in July, that, you know, Spirit's got your back, Spirit is with you. Things can happen for you once you do this forgiveness. And the reason that, like, it's almost like this is required to open the space to fill you up with love, to allow you that feeling of transcending this. And this kind of thing is so huge. This not forgiving, just holding on to blame, is such a low frequency. It just keeps you down. Even if on the surface and at your conscious level, as you're floating about your day and living your life, and you can come across positive and feel like you're positive and really believe you are, but if you're carrying blame and anger towards anyone, it is dampening your frequency. It just is. So with the higher frequency coming on, get out in nature, go into meditation, and really work on this forgiveness piece for the other and yourself. It's huge. And when you can do this and fill that spot back up with love, you will transcend like you just can't believe. And the universe is so with you on this. Lord Shiva is here to tell you that the whole universe is so behind you and ready to support you if you need support with letting go. Dance with the universe. They're telling you there's so much great stuff out here for you when you can transcend these lower frequencies and rise up to all that the universe has to offer. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's just like 1, 2, 3, right? The higher frequencies are coming on the planet and they're lifting you up. Stay grounded. As you lift up, you're able to go deeper. Deeper wounds are going to start showing up, and it's going to have potentially a lot to do with forgiveness. If you can do it, and please do it. We love you. I love you, and I want you to experience this. We want you to experience this, and that comes from forgiveness of self and other. So stay grounded and then transcend, okay? All right, you guys. Happy July. Have a great July. Get curious about this. You can do this. You can do this. Spirit's got your back. And I'm with you. Sending you good stuff too to help you do this. It's amazing. And if there might be some bigger situations, if you can find just maybe a small one to forgive, a small situation to forgive, they're saying now. Find a small situation that's, you know, easier to forgive than maybe some kind of big trauma, okay? Find just a little situation that you can forgive so that you can experience that release and see how quickly the universe just feel yourself go up. Just feel that freedom from a small one. And then you will begin to fully understand the capacity of transcendence from the bigger traumas that are calling for forgiveness. When you can release those, the transcendence is equal on the other side of it. So start small and hopefully get to the big ones in July. It's a great month to do this in July. It's also, 4th of July is coming up here in the United States, and I have a sale going on for the reading. So you know, I'm following my guidance every day. So that they said, yep, 4th of July sale. It's kind of a numbers pattern thing, 44% 4th of July. So if you'd like to get a reading, and now's a really good time, it's available until midnight on the 4th. So until next time, take really good care of yourselves. You guys have a great July, and we'll talk to you soon. Love you.